Good evening. Good evening. I have no music tonight. This is insane. I have no music. It is very hard. I'm gonna have to work on that. I have been taking my time with using regular music and dodging copyrights, which I don't want to do. I don't want to do that. Now I got the feedback. So good evening. Welcome back. We're back on the couch with Dr. Kim. I'm Dr. Kim, and it's Friday night. So it's time to get into it. Get your friends, pull up a chair, pour you a drink. Libations are in order tonight because this subject here. Whoo! Why is there piss in the dating pool? What you say? Why is there piss in the dating pool? That's what I'm talking about tonight. Come through, y'all. Come through, come through, come through. I see some folks in the chat. Good evening. Come on in. We got to talk about why is there piss in the dating pool? And I know if you're on social media, you hear people talking about this all the time. Well, they said pee. Why is there pee in the dating pool? And some people say it's even worse than pee. And so I'll take it a step further. Why is there piss? And so if you notice, if you saw it on Facebook, I omitted the I because I didn't want to get blocked. But I wanted it to be kind of titillating, right? So folks would tune in and listen. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Why is it so much in there? When I tell you, when I first thought of this a couple of weeks ago, and this was when my friend, the author, Benjamin, if you're watching, good evening. My friend Benjamin, the author of the Apology books, when he was here a few weeks ago, one of the things that we talked about when we were getting ready for the show is so much of the anger that's on social media. Let me get in a little closer here. How much anger there is on social media. If you get on any given day, there are people fussing and complaining about men and women. Men and women. The men are these women do this. Women are like that. These women are, and then the women are saying the same thing. Right? These men are horrible. Where are the good men at? And then I know good men and no good women. Hey, Rossi, we got Baltimore in the house. And so I'm like, I know good men. I know good women. Why can't they find each other? And I think it's because of all of this toxic we see, not just on social media, but what we hear out in the streets, what we hear from friends and family, and maybe some of the things that we heard growing up that aren't serving our good anymore. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about all of that tonight, okay? If you can't stay on the whole time, I understand. It's Friday night. Trust me, I had a full list of invitations as soon as we finish talking tonight. I know it just depends on whether I want to go close to home, stay close to home, or go far away. But we're going to get into it. So, how did we get here? How did we get here? I'm like 15 years. I've been 15 years in this dating pool. I never thought I would be here this long. But I don't want to be single anymore. I'm done with the single life, right? So I'm like, what is it going to take for me to move my relationship status? And the conclusion I came to is it's going to require me to date differently. It's going to require me to date differently, which means I can't have all this piss in my dating pool. So that's why I said, let me look at it. Why is it so pissy? And what can we do about it? And so part of the reason, the first conclusion I came to that I don't think you all are going to like, but it's true. Why is it so pissy in the dating pool? Because we're pissing in the dating pool. You're like, what? Excuse me, I'm getting over something here. Why is the dating pool so pissy? Because we're pissing in it. The dating pool is only as good as the people in it. And so I'm guilty, you're guilty, they're guilty. We all have some guilt in why the dating pool is so pissy. Every time you repeat something toxic that you've heard or seen on the internet, you internalize that. It goes into your knowledge base. It goes into the way you view the world and the way you interact with others. That's what it does. And so the best thing we can do is to not internalize these things that we're seeing, all of these bad messages of how people are and what they're doing, and this is how things are done, and all of that. We've got to stop doing that. And I mean, like immediately, because it's bad. I promise you, and my timeline is pretty positive as far as timelines go because I'm very selective in who I follow and who I listen to and who I engage with. Hey, Venus, how are you? Good evening. I'm pretty careful about that. But even in my selectivity with who I follow and who I engage with on social media, I'm still running into a lot of negativity, a lot of negativity. And so the water is starting to get a little bit cleaner over here. And it's because I've done some of that work, some of that hard work. It's cleaning my own pool, right? Cleaning my own vision as to how I look at people and how I view myself. And when we start talking about the whys, a lot of it starts with us. We draw what we are. Just like you've heard that saying, we are what we eat. Well, we are what we take in, right? What we watch, what we listen to, who we talk to. And so all of that marinates in your spirit, and you become those ideas and images. That becomes your truth. And so I'm seeing people that I respect who are repeating some of the things they've heard on social media that I'm like, I know, I never would have thought they would have said these things, but they've heard it so much that now they believe it's true. So these last two generations, we've taken in so much garbage between unhealed family members trying to tell us what we should or shouldn't do based on their experiences to the wild, wild internet. And now we're at a point of confusion and corruption, and it has manifested to piss in the dating pool. So that is how we got here. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail as to how and the why. Why is there so much? Why is there so much piss in the dating pool? Number one, now I'm going to take a sip. Are you all have any drinks with me tonight? It's Midori Sour for me and a little tea. Also chasing this sore throat here. So you all pray for me. I'm trying to get through. So the first one, people don't know themselves. They lack self-awareness. If you ask the average person, tell me about yourself, they start with the work that they do. They start with where they live. It's all external things. Average person struggles with being able to describe or talk about who they are, what matters to them. And if you don't know who you are, then it's very impossible to go to the next and talk about what you want. But let's stay here for a minute. So, a big topic that comes up when I meet people, those who consider themselves to be emotionally intelligent, they will bring up the love languages. Now, you all know I love the love languages, right? Let me get comfortable. I love the love languages. And so they're like, so what's your love language? And I'm like, those of you who follow me know what? It's words of affirmation, right? Followed by physical touch. All right. So a person who knows themselves has come to that conclusion because they observed and they also have what? Taken in information from those who interact with them. So what I found is sometimes people will tell you their love language and it's really not their love language at all. So for example, someone, my love language is physical touch. Okay. So how do you feel about PDA? I'm not really a PDA person. But you said physical touch is your love language. So you can't love out in public, you can't love out loud. And so there's all these boundaries and limitations. And so upon further review, right? And talking, it came to find out that the love language was really quality time. They really like just being with the person that they love, but you don't really have to touch me. But they didn't want to say that it wasn't physical touch because they like sex. And I'm like, well, you can like sex and that not be your love language. And they're like, oh, okay. So I figured if I said anything else that you would think I wasn't affectionate. So here we go again with somebody saying what they think the other person wants to hear, or the buzzwords that are captivating in this moment. Again, a lot of influence from social media as far as others. So people don't know themselves. People don't know themselves. Another good question that I've seen come across Facebook in the last couple of weeks that speaks to this is they asked people, what makes it hard to date you? What makes you a hard person to date? And it was some very interesting responses to that. I felt like some people were being brutally honest, probably very critical of themselves. And there were some other people like, there's nothing. I'm very easy to love. It's just these people out there. And I'm sorry, we all have some parts of us or facets of us that are difficult to love. There's no one that's immune from that. And so once you're able to admit to yourself who you really are, what's good about you, what's challenging about you, you're at the beginning of being ready to engage with others. But until you're aware of yourself and really know, and I hate this expression, but it's right there, what you bring to the table, because you know that's being overdone too, right? You really are not ready to enter the dating pool. Some folks are looking for other people to define them, or they're defined by who they're with. And I'm going too fast. Let me slow down. People don't know what they want. That's the other reason why there's so much piss in the dating pool. People don't know what they want. And again, I've run into plenty men and women who will say what they think everyone wants to hear that will make them a viable dating candidate. So there are people who will say they don't want to be married because who's getting married at our age? And I meant to preface this conversation by saying I'm talking about the over 40 crowd. I can't speak for the younger crowd, but over 40, definitely over 50. People are like, who's getting married? I've done that. I'm not doing that again. But there is a percentage of over 40 and over 50 people, even over 60, who still want to be married. But they're ashamed to say so because they're afraid, if I'm honest and I say this, then that's going to limit the people that I will be able to date. And actually, that's a good thing. If you're clear about what you want, it will narrow down the dating pool for you, and you won't have to worry about all the piss because you'll be swimming in clean water, right, with the folks who want what you want. But you got to be clear about what you want. And then there's other people who really just want companionship. They're like, I really just want somebody to be my plus one here and there, right? If there's something that I want to do that I want to do by myself. But they're like reticent to say that because the quality of people they want, the more stable crowd, might look down on that because they want commitment. But you end up wasting people's time. And in essence, you're a liar. You got to engage in honest reflection. You have to. So people don't know what they want. And I think sometimes, again, we'll say that we want something because of what will be expected. Sometimes we're not sure. Sometimes we're not sure. So, for example, for a long time, I thought I would be okay in a committed relationship. I was like, as long as, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, I'm okay. As long as I know you belong to me and I belong to you. But after some years, I had to be honest with myself and say, no, I really like being married. I really want that ultimate commitment. That's me. And I was like, I can't be afraid to say that anymore. And if there's someone, guess what? who isn't on that same path, they're not looking to be married, it's okay. It's all right. We're just not going in the same direction. That's just like, God, and the metaphor just left me. But I don't know why we defy logic in our romantic lives. It's just like when you're interviewing for a job, and I'm interviewing to fill a position where I am. And one of the questions that we ask is, how will this position connect, or how does this position connect with your career goals? Okay. So, and some real interesting answers this week, which I won't go into. But the person who voiced similar goals in the direction of the company where I am, it makes sense to hire this person, at least call them in for another interview, another date. Do you see where I'm going with that? But why would I continue to try to pursue someone or talk to someone who's going in a totally different direction? That's just setting yourself up for disappointment. It's setting yourself up for a lot of bad feelings. All this piss in the dating pool. So people don't know themselves. People don't know what they want. And some people don't know how, or are not willing to communicate what they want. So again, I know some people who are really great daters. And so they have kind of their script, if you will, of dating questions and all of that. And so they may ask, so what is it you really want? What kind of relationship do you want? And I've seen folks who, oh, that's a really good question. Can't answer it. Really don't know. What is it that you want? What would make you happy? What kind of person do you want? Now, I'm going to get down to the list, because I know there's some people out here with lists, all these long lists. She's got to have, he's got to have. So I'm not even talking about that. But somebody just saying, what is it that you want? Don't even know how to put it in words. And that's a big reason why I started my group, Love and Life According to Dr. Kim. You can find us on Facebook. Is I really wanted women in particular to be better at articulating their feelings. Now, we know women are thought to be the emotional part of a relationship, but there's different in feeling something and knowing how to relay that to another human. And sometimes we're not able to do that. And I'll say even clearly, because it gets caught up into the emotions, the tears, the and the ranting. And that person still may not know at the end of that conversation what you really want or what it is you really need. So people don't know how to communicate what they want. It's a lot of mind reading going on. A lot. And I've heard men and women say this. At this advanced age, I shouldn't have to tell anybody how to be my partner. I shouldn't have to tell a grown man what I want as a woman. I shouldn't have to tell a woman what a real man wants. I was like, has that person ever met you? Isn't it about finding out what that person wants? And of course, we have general knowledge about how most men and women act. But the whole process of dating is figuring out that person. That person. So we don't know how to communicate what it is we want in a clear, factual way. So that's some homework for you if you're not there yet. There's too many choices. Why is there piss in the dating pool? Because there's too many choices. We're in the swipe generation. Swipe to the left, or is it to the right? It's been so long since I've been on a dating site, but we have too many choices. So before, where people would maybe take the time to get to know somebody, it's like, forget about it. Next is too much work. Or they say something wrong. The first time somebody says something wrong. Next, because it's too easy. There's a whole plethora of people in the DMs. I can go from the gram to the book to TikTok. I won't even get into threads. Threads is crazy. I got into threads the other day and I was like, oh my gosh. It was like 2 marriage proposals and It was all kinds of things. I was like, Threads is a little crazy. So anyway, because of this access to thousands and millions of people, I think that we don't handle each other with care in a way that we used to. I'll say pre-internet, because folks are just pictures on a screen. They're just messages on a phone. So it's very easy to dismiss someone and not really give them a full look, give them full consideration because there's somebody else. That's why you see ghosting so much too. There's no way in the world you could have ghosted somebody in the 80s and 90s because you're going to run into them or somebody they know. But if it's somebody I've met in a group, maybe they live in another state or whatever, there's no consequence in ghosting because it's just a delete and a block. And so I've seen people cut off, but man, I thought things were going really well. We were having a great conversation. Then all of a sudden, the person just stopped talking, stopped calling, stopped answering calls. It's because guess what? There was a better option that came up. And because I don't have to interact with you on the street, because we don't know anybody in common, I don't think they feel the responsibility of exiting with any type of clarity at all. It's just, oh, I'm done next. Just like people do. I'm telling you, I promise you, I think people are out here dating just like we're on the apps, like I'm like DoorDash. It's like, okay, I'm gonna just click this and I want this and I want it delivered like this. And then if they don't, I could send it back or I can get a refund and I just move on. We got too many choices. Way too many choices. I'm gonna move on. I can't. I feel like the Baptist preachers. I can't get no help in here tonight. That's fine. I'm talking to myself. We got keyboard warriors. Another reason why there's piss in the dating pool is there are some people that just sit up on their phone or their computer all day and just rage bait the opposite sex. And there's one person in particular, I don't want to mention his name out loud, but I hope that he watches this. And he just posts questions every day that he knows is going to ignite some kind of controversy. And usually he starts with some kind of, what do I want to say? Stereotype, some type of stereotype about women in particular. He posts a lot of negative things about women. And so there was one question that's kind of like, let me see, I don't even want to make it up. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, every day it's something. And so people get on there and they argue and they fuss and they fight. And at the end of the day, it's like, where was the question? Because this one it got me real bad. Oh, it got me real bad. Would you rather be a side chick to an NBA player or a wife to an average man? That was one question. It was like, what? Would you rather be a side chick? Why is that even a choice? Or married to an average man? What is this one? What is Oh God, it was another one. If me in life men are taught in life men are taught how to protect, how to perform, protect, and to provide, but not how to process all of what was taught along with being told to do. I'm not sure of them. We are taught to be unbreakable, but then are surprised when they shatter. So were all men taught that? And so that's what I want you all to be careful is with when you see anybody talk about all, when they say all, when they say men do this, women do that, run. Because that's already a sign that that person is prejudiced and they have some very, very narrow points of view about how things are. But these keyboard warriors, they'll have you convinced that there's piss in the dating pool. that women are out here, they're just looking for a man who makes money so they can lay on their back and they don't have to make money of their own. Really? I don't know any women like that. But if you get on Facebook, let some of these men tell it, that's how women are. Period. Every woman you meet on the street, old, young, they're looking for a man to take care of them. Now, who doesn't want somebody to take care of them? But is that every woman's MO? No. And these men are out here, all they want is sex. Is that some men? Sure. Is that all men? Absolutely not. I know some men who desperately want to be married. I do. I know some men who they're like, is nothing like waking up and knowing there's another person in the world who's looking for you to wake up to. How romantic is that? And not only do they want to be married, they want to be husbands. And there's a difference because I know some women who want to be married but don't want to be wives. I'm gonna just sip my tea. And I also know some men who want wives but don't want to be husbands. But I'm talking about there's some people that really, really are seeking marriage. And these people on the internet will have you thinking that that's not true. They will have you thinking that that is not true, that you're the only one that feels that way. People, now this is the one that I know the men are gonna like. There's a lot of people who can't or are not willing to give what they expect. Woo! I think that was my favorite one out of all the ones I researched this week. There's piss in the dating pool because there's a whole lot of people out here who have a list of things they want that they are not willing or able to give. Now, we could start with the finances, okay? And again, that's men and women. Like these young men out here, oh my gosh, somebody asked me, how is dating going? I said, these men are looking for either a nurse or a purse. Now, did I say all men? No. A great number of men? Yes. I was like, the old ones are looking for a nurse and the young men are looking for a purse. Some younger men, they like an older woman because she's experienced and she's settled and she's chill. But some of them are looking for the come up, just like some women, young women are. I don't want to go through the struggle of with a man my age. I want a man who is established because he already has these things that I want. But what are you bringing? What are you offering? Where is the balance? Why should somebody with everything want somebody with nothing? Now, I'm not saying we got to be equal, but why would I, if I am established, seek out somebody who hasn't figured anything out, has no plan for their life? Because it's some 50s and 60s running around like that. They're still trying to figure it out, which is really insane. So I'm just saying, somebody who wants somebody stable, but you're not stable. You want somebody in shape, you're not in shape. I want somebody family oriented, and you're estranged from your family. I want somebody who is higher up in their company, and you changing jobs every other month. Come on now. It's too many people out here that are expecting somebody to provide for them what they're not even willing, they don't have for themselves. And also wanting all of these things. And again, for what? So even though I hate that saying, what are you bringing to the table? I mean, honestly, that's what we're saying, right? For both sexes, what is the value added of you being in someone else's life? What can they truly say you are offering them that they can't get anywhere else? Take sex off the table because sex is easy. Sex is easy. You can get that like you can get a burger on any corner. So besides that, what are you offering? What are you presenting? What are you bringing to that person's life that's better than them being alone? And most people can't answer that. Well, I just know I'm a good woman. What does that mean? I'm a good man. I'm a provider. What does that mean? Because I've shared my story. My ex-husband was a wonderful provider. He was an excellent provider. There was nothing that I wanted or needed that I did not have materially, but he could not give me himself. He could not give me his heart. Hey, hey, how are you? Francisco, most people can't, no, they can't answer that question. They can't. What do you bring? What do you bring to the table? And if you can't answer that, what is it? I bring a sense of humor. I bring a sense of, I'm very supportive, right? I'm a good friend. I'm loyal. I'm somebody you can depend on. What are those soft skills that you have? What are the qualities and characteristics that you have that again, that person cannot provide for themselves? Hey, Cherie, absolutely. Companionship. And then again, what does that look like? So when we say companionship, people have very different ideas of what companionship looks like. So for some people, it's when I need to go out. For some people, it's I want somebody I can do everything with. So you still have to know yourself and be willing to tell the truth when those questions come up. People aren't willing to give it. Yeah. Yep. It is. It's a big red flag. So people are not able to give what they expect. These long lists, long lists, long lists. This I'm the prize issue. What do you all feel about that? Now, I personally believe that women are the prize. That doesn't mean that a man is junk, but I know factually that a man's life improves when he has a good woman in it. I have anecdotal evidence. I also have what I know the Bible talks about that. Okay. Things can turn around exponentially in a man's life when he has a good woman. Good woman. Someone that is going in the same direction that he's going in. Oh, you bring a large flag. Really? What is your red flag? I'm curious. I'm curious. So I believe the women are the prize. A woman can take a house and turn it into a home. A woman can take and produce a child. You give her the seed, she produces a whole child. Give them a child, it's a family. Okay, so I believe that. I still believe that women are the prize. But again, that doesn't mean that a man is junk. I raised a man. I believe he's a prize. I believe that he deserves to be loved. He deserves to be respected. Absolutely. I think if you get someone good in your life, isn't that a gift, a prize? To have someone to value that values you, isn't that prize worthy? But when you have both sexes who approach each other that you're lucky to have me, that's problematic. Should your person feel like they're lucky to have you? Absolutely. But approaching somebody with that like that, that's so egotistical. So you lucky to have me. Don't you know how many other people wish they were in your shoes? Oh my God. But that's how I see men and women walking around. Women who want let me say this before I go on to the next point. Nobody should be chasing anyone because chasing precludes that one person is not engaged in that process. Absolutely. I guess. Well, we all have options not to settle down. That's always an option for men and for women. But to approach somebody and say, okay, I'm gonna, like I said, I want to be chased. Pursuing is slightly different. So pursuing someone, like I was talking about the job interviews, okay, we've talked to you at this level. Now we want to talk a little bit more. Now we're going to put a little bit more skin in the game because I want you to take this job. It's no different than dating. I'm going to invest a little bit more of my time, a little bit more of my energy in getting to know you and you getting to know me. That's pursuit. Chasing is one sided, where I'm constantly reaching out to you, or that person is constantly making plans with you, that person is constantly communicating with you, and then the other person decides, "Hmm, I won't answer today," which is going to take me to one of the other reasons why I was pissing in the dating pool. But that chasing, nobody should be chasing anybody, but pursuing each other, absolutely. The men, women want, know they're in demand. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so here's the thing. I think if you're considering all of these things, people reveal themselves soon enough so you know that's not somebody you want to invest in. And like I said, I've met those men and women. You're lucky to be on the phone with me. Are you serious right now? Who has time for that? Unrealistic expectations. How about that? There's piss in the dating pool because people have unrealistic expectations. Besides the physical, like I was talking about earlier, oh, she's got to be built like this. He's got to be built like that. They need to make this amount of money. They need this whole list. This person, once I find this person, then my life is going to be. It's like that's a lot of weight to put on another person. And all of your happiness hinges on this person showing up and acting right. All of that is going to happen. I think that's unrealistic to expect that this one relationship is going to change everything for you. Now, will it enhance certain parts of your life? Absolutely. Like I said, I can't wait to have someone in my life, someone stable and permanent in my life, to be able to say, hey, what are we going to do this weekend? What do we have going on this weekend? I can't wait to say we things, right? But I'm not waiting for that relationship for my life to be amazing. My life is amazing right now. I think it'll be amazing in all caps when my husband comes. You see the difference? But people have unrealistic expectations and also expectations, again, that they don't communicate. I can't tell you how many couples I have talked to where as soon as they got married or as soon as they got committed, all of a sudden there were these expectations. Oh, good. So now that we're together, I just thought that you would. All of these expectations, but I thought that's what men do. I thought that's what women do. So what are some of the common ones? The women expect that the men are going to do all of the physical things, right, in a relationship. So all of a sudden, like I just assume you're going to put that together. I assume you're going to. Did you ever talk to this person? Did you ever find out, was he handy? Does he even know how to do those things? No, because a lot of women just assume, and I was that way as a younger woman, they just assume, well, that's what men do. And I've seen plenty of men, as soon as they have a woman in their life, so what are we eating? So now she's Meals on Wheels because now she's your woman. Now, when you first met her, did you ever hear her talking about she was cooking anything? Probably not. But now that you're my woman, you're going to cook us something to eat every day. Are you serious right now? Now, it could happen. Hey, hey, what's up? How you doing? It could happen if we're communicating that those are some things we would like to have or like to see. But for you, assume that somebody is just all of a sudden abracadabra going to turn into Superman or Superwoman. Unrealistic expectations. Here's some more reasons. Piss in the dating pool. I got a few more. a few more. You all need to like and share this. Thank you for those of you who are in the room talking to me. Too many rules. It's too many rules, which is why we have this in the dating pool. People don't even know how to have a conversation with one another because there's this whole 7-step process to get to know somebody. It's insane. And all these levels to a relationship. Are we talking? Are we friends? Are we dating? Are we dating exclusively? Are we dating for marriage? Or are we just dating for companionship? I promise you, it's all these levels. And then somebody gives you their number, you should wait for 24 hours so you don't seem so thirsty. And you don't want to double text because if you send 2 text messages in a row, they'll think you're thirsty. So I can't do that, even though you might have something really interesting to say. Because the rules say if I do that, he or she will think that I'm coming on too strong. I'm doing too much. So all of these rules have people, I'm just telling you, acting crazy. Like, man, I thought we were in the middle of a good conversation. And all of a sudden they just stop texting. Wow. And sometimes it's because legitimately something happened. But I've talked to people after the fact and it was like, I didn't want to be doing too much. And it's like, did I make you feel that way? No, I just know that in the past, when I've talked that much, it was a turnoff for those people. So what do you all think about that? I mean, I think there's some merit in learning from past relationships. Absolutely. You would be stupid not to. But you also can't use that as a measuring stick for everybody you meet. That because that was a turn off for that person, I'll never do that again. If the vibe is there, go with it. But I'm telling you, there's these rules. There's these rules. Who pays? Who should pay on the date? Well, the person who asked the person should pay. Okay. Well, who pays on the next date? Who should ask the person out? Should the man ask? Should the woman ask? Should the man pay? Should the woman pay the tip? All these rules. I know there's somebody in my DM right now who's waiting for me to ask him. And I said, wow, this is exactly what I'm talking about tonight. A game. This is a game for some people. All of these rules. If you want to go out, you want to take me out, ask me. And if there's a man who I want to go out with, I don't think I'm quite there, that's why I haven't asked him, then I would just ask, hey. But I think because of that other rule, who pays, and because we're in this economy that we're in, everybody's being careful. Well, if I ask her, then that means I'm going to have to pay. If I ask him, then I'll have to pay. So all of these rules are keeping people, excuse me, in boxes. I know for me, the rule for me that was hardest for me to get over was approaching men, talking to a man first. Because I was literally taught, like, you do not approach a man first. And you definitely don't make the first phone call. Oh, you all excuse me, this cough is getting worse. And I had one of my friends, and I know she's not on here because she's out DJing tonight, but if Sherry was here, she was like, she asked me, she said, well, how's that working for you? I was like, ooh, I didn't really like that. And it wasn't working for me. So she was like, well, just be honest. If it's somebody you're interested in, you just say, hey, I really liked our conversation. I'd like to, you know, continue the conversation. Maybe we can meet for a cocktail. Maybe can meet for coffee. Is that going to kill you? How bad is that? And I was like, I guess that's not too bad. But again, going by how I was taught and some experiences I had before when I had done that, where then when you ask the man out, then he thinks, oh, okay, she's really aggressive. So if she asked me out, then that means she's ready, No. The one doesn't mean the other. But I found out that was those people. That doesn't mean that's everybody. So if I see someone that I'm interested in, am I going to let him know? Absolutely. And if he says no, is it the end of the world? Absolutely not. And if he says he's interested, is that okay? Sure. Now, if he wants something I don't want, is it okay to say no? Yes. And it's really that simple. It's really not all of these rules. It's really two people trying to see, do we have anything in common that we want to spend more time together, whatever that looks like. That's really all dating is. And even though I know my friend Apostle G Hightower, if he watches this, he doesn't like when I call gentlemen applicants. But I look at dating that way because they're applying for a position in my life. I feel like I'm an applicant too, right? And so if you're applying for a position in my life, then I'm investigating, right? How close of a match are we? How good is this? Do I want to call you back for another interview? Do I want to be called back for another interview? Then I think that's worthwhile. And that's really the only rules there should be. You see somebody you like, say something. If they like you, move forward. If they don't, move to the next one. It's not that hard. But everybody is so scared of being hurt and hurting them, getting hurt themselves. It's a lot. Double standards. Another reason why there's piss in the dating pool. This is probably the biggest one. Double standards. I was watching, it wasn't a podcast, it's one of these influencers. And they were talking about piss in the dating pool. And the woman was, you're not even gonna believe this. Well, you will. She has been dating this man on and off for 17 years. Let's just stop right there. 17 years she's been dating this man on and off. And they started dating after when she got separated. Are you following this? So she had been in communication with him all while she was married. At one point, she says, I'm separated. He let her know he was interested in being more than her friend. They started dating while she was separated, still married. Okay. So the divorce is final. She's thinking we're about to take it to the next level. He's like, I'm good where we are. 17 years later, now she's over here throwing him audibles about what she wants. I can't believe you don't even come over here. You don't even bring flowers to me. I want you to bring me some flowers. I want you to bring this shit, this whole list of things that she was giving him to do every time they went out. And it's like, wait a minute. Didn't you have a whole husband when you started dating him? But now all of a sudden the relationship is supposed to go this way. I see cheaters out here, same way. You cheat. But this person is supposed to be loyal to you. You're not even loyal to your spouse. People who are single, I'm single and you're single. But no, I'm single, but you're single. Meaning I could date whoever I want, but I want you to date only me. How are you going to do that? Where's the fairness in that? And again, I'm seeing that with men and women. If you don't want to commit to me, that's fine. But I don't think that's fair that I'm committing to you. The double standard is there. And then you have some people who are like, you got to chase me, going back to that chasing, until you prove to me you're worthy. It's a game. So some people, I just want to see how much he's got. He recognized she didn't have value and treated her. Exactly. 17 years. I think she's been dating him longer than her marriage was. Longer than her marriage was. Double standards. I got a few more and then we're done. We're doing good with our time. Unresolved trauma. There's piss in the dating pool because some people out here are hurt. It's some women out here with daddy issues. It's some men out here with mommy issues. Somebody hurt you when you were a kid. You were never chosen on the playground, and you take it out on every single person you meet. Nope, they're not smart people. Thank you, Bear. Hey, Bear. Welcome. So they keep their guards up so they don't get hurt, or they try to hurry up and leave before they get got. So you got people out here playing games because they've been hurt and they don't want to be hurt anymore. So I'm going to play only up until the point that it looks like I may not win. Or the last man that did this to me did this. So now I believe that's my point of view about every man. And I remember in my unhealed state being like that. So I had been hurt by so many men in the church. I said, that's it for me and men in the church. So when I met my ex-husband, that was like the second question I asked him. I said, you go to church? He said, no. I said, good. Because for me, a man in church meant hurt. Instead of realizing that there were some commonalities in where I met those people, but that should not have been a generalization. Not a generalization. But if you stay in that space, that again becomes your worldview. That every time somebody does this, that must mean they're like these people that I knew. Instead of letting that person show up and show you who they are. You hear the difference? Just like we would want somebody to do us. So for example, I've had people who had really bad school experiences. So when they find out I'm a teacher, and worse yet, a professor, oh my God. So that means I got to talk a certain way. I got to do this. That's what I do for a living. That has nothing to do with me getting to know you. But they've been scarred so bad. Or the last girl I met, she was a teacher and she thought she was going to tell me what to do all the time. I'm sorry sis did that to you. That's not me. But that is how we tend to handle people. And have you all seen that? Especially again, because we're in the swipe and the click and the block and the delete era, people will say something and it's like, oh no, I'm not ever going to let nobody. Yeesh. And I mean, the hair triggers on people is so thin that I've seen people go completely in off of a one word phrase. And you're like, goodness gracious, you need to go somewhere and get on somebody's couch and get some help. Bad teaching. Why else is there piss in the dating pool? Bad teaching, particularly around gender rules or gender roles, rather. What men want, what women want, what we're supposed to do, how to get a man, how to keep a woman, all of this stuff. Bad teaching. Bad teaching. Broken hearts. I hear you, Venus. Broken hearts lead to broken lives. They do. They do. But it's one thing for us to guard our heart, which is wisdom, right? To guard our hearts and to close your heart. And I see a lot of people operating with closed hearts. It's kind of like they'll avail themselves to a date and then say, if this person is really for me, they'll tear down those walls. So you're already putting that person up against some really almost insurmountable challenges. So if they gotta crack open your heart and melt your heart and all of these things, that's a lot of work. I think you need to go sit down somewhere by yourself and heal that heart so then you can enter these spaces with a guarded heart. Absolutely protect your heart, but not have it be closed off where nobody can reach you. Absolutely, we all need therapy. We all need therapy. I don't know anybody at certain points in their life that don't need somebody to talk to and help them navigate what's going on. But these gender roles, this is what a good woman does. This is how you get a man. Are you serious right now? And I'm here, and I've heard this again from older people who are saying, look, this is what you all should be doing, and this is why things aren't working. And you're like, oh, and some of those things are toxic. Everything old school is not healthy. For example, there is still a school of thought out here that half a man is better than no man at all. That's just not good math as far as I'm concerned. But look, if you got a man that's willing to do for you, as long as he's treating you right, what difference does it make? It makes a big difference to me, but I can see a lot of people that it doesn't make a big difference to. Now, let me also say this. What happens between two people happens between two people. I've seen people carry on relationships like that for years. Not my cup of tea. You see me, Cherie? I got to see your cup of tea. That's not my cup of tea. Okay? But if it works for you, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. But for the most part, no. I'm not sharing. I can't go halves. I can't go halves. Yeah. Giving ultimatums. Ooh, that was one. I definitely was taught that. Especially if you're dating, they're like, you got 1 year. Because what have we been taught? You all talk to me. A man knows immediately if he wants to marry a woman. Now, just because he knows immediately doesn't mean he's going to pop the question immediately. So then the old schoolers say, well, you give him a year, no longer than 18 months. And I remember when I was teaching people that. Bad teaching. Ultimatums are not good, especially if you're pulling them out of the blue, or like you just said, Cherie, if they're unknown. Again, going back to the mind reading I was talking about earlier, you've got a timeline in your head that you have never conveyed to this man. He has a timeline in his head that he's never conveyed to you. Right? Those are bad enough. But what about the ones where you've come up with the timeline with everybody in your circle? Because everybody in your circle is saying, girl, he should have been made up his mind. Don't be on layaway too long. Really? You think so? Yeah. It don't take a man all day to realize he want a woman. Oh, okay. Okay. Worst thing you can do. Man, for real, she pushing buttons on you like that? Oh, partner, I wouldn't deal with that. For real, man, you wouldn't? Oh, hell no. I wouldn't have no woman telling, asking, doing. But that's on you, partner. Some of us have too many people in our relationships giving advice about things that they won't have to suffer the consequences for. I've seen people walk away from pretty good relationships. And guess what? They found out once they got out here in the pissy dating pool, they'd have done better to stay where it is they were. Fix what you have instead of going out here and starting something new, especially if you didn't figure out what went wrong. But ultimatum, that's probably the worst one, and I remember. The Bear, are you there? If we're not married by then, then I'm gonna have to go. And bye. Because what you're not going to do is make me do something until I'm ready to do it. Again, that's man, woman, boy, girl. Ultimatums, especially if you're trying to manipulate and push something in your direction, worst thing you can do. Worst thing you can do. And the last one, making decisions based on cultural norms. A lot of this piss in the dating pool is because people are doing what they think everybody else is doing. They're choosing people or a situation because it'll make them look like what everybody else wants. They ask that I don't grade their text. Lord, see what I'm saying? Teachers, we get it bad. Yeah, I get a lot of apologies. I'm sorry I didn't use correct English. Stop it. But making decisions based on or choosing people based on what you think everybody else wants you to have. or what you see other people doing. Peer pressure is real. There's 50 and 60-year-old people who would still say, I want the baddie. Because they want to be able to walk in the room and have everybody look at them. And I'm talking about what I know. Now that was me in my 20s, for sure. 20s. That's right. If I'm going in here, well, I would say younger than that because I was married and I was 20. So I'd have to go back to college, right? And be like, I came in a room. Who is the one that everybody else wants? And that's the one I want. And I'm gonna get him because that's gonna make me feel some kind of way about me, right? Do you know it's some 40 and 50-year-old people that are operating the same way? Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be attracted to people. Absolutely. I mean, who wants a Ugg muffin, right? But but to choose somebody strictly on those principles, I gotta have the baddest one in the room. I gotta have the one that's gonna stop the show when I walk in. Are you serious right now? Or I want the one that works here or drives that. I want the one that knows these people because it opens doors for me. Well, my family said I should get with somebody like this because this group of people will do it, take care of you or provide for you. I've heard it again, men and women, their families. Choose a woman with no kids. Choose a woman with kids because she already knows how to take care of a house. But people out here making decisions based on what everybody else is saying, what everybody else is doing. And don't let me go back to the internet because the internet, God, right? How many shows can you find, right? How to get a man, 4 steps to keep a man, 3 ways to keep a woman. They don't have too many out there for the men because they figure, well, the men know. And all he got to do is have money, right? Because that's what everything on the internet says. He got money because that's all the women want is a man with money. But a lot of people making decisions based on what it looks like, what everybody around them is doing, what's going to be acceptable. Let's get into the age differences. People were going in on me, and I just made the post as a funny that I was going to start, cougaring, and people got upset. Now, here's what's funny. I was like, these are the married people. Where's the single people? What do you care who I'm dating? You're married. But the fact was, if I meet a man that's younger than me, that checks all of my personal boxes, meaning the characteristics and qualities that I want in a mate, yeah, I'm dating him. And I could care less what you all think. Now, would I be interested in somebody as young as what was on that meme? He looked like about my son's age, mid-30s. No, I couldn't see myself doing that. But if I did, best believe Dr. Kim is happy. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything. But I've seen a lot of people turn away from possible relationships because it just doesn't look right. That's not gonna go well with my family. Are you serious right now? So you're gonna relinquish your happiness because the judge and jury of the Smiths and Jones don't care for your choice. But they don't have to be in that house with you every day. And most of the ones, if you notice, most of the ones that have the most opinions either have a messed up life of their own and they're trying to live vicariously through you, or they have a whole life themselves and they're going to keep you, what, out here by yourself. I've seen people give just faulty information. And it's like they're doing a science experiment where I didn't know because I don't know how things are, but I figure she might as well try it. Seriously? And then somebody is stupid enough to sit up there and listen to that. So we've got to get out of worrying about what people think. I did a whole show about people not dating because of their children's opinion. But the pissy part, since we're talking about the piss in the dating pool, is people who are rejecting people because they don't fit the image of their peer group. On Facebook is saying this is the kind of person you choose. This is a high value man. This is what a high value man looks like. Are you serious right now? So people are going by these formulas, choosing instead of what makes sense to them in their own lives. So at the end of the day, there's piss in the dating pool because we keep pissing in it. We're listening to toxic stuff. We're operating in toxic ways. And that means you're attracting toxicity, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. So repeating, we got to stop repeating some of this toxic stuff. Some of this I'm not even going to talk about anymore because I don't want it in my spirit. I mentioned earlier that I'm seeing it affect married couples who are digesting this information and thinking there's a whole world out there that they're missing. Maybe I picked the wrong person because my relationship should look like this. And then they come out here in the real world and figure out, oh, it's not what I thought it would be. I'm telling you, those of you who are thinking about throwing away your boo, think again before you come out here. Some people just want to see you unhappy. Yep, misery loves company. Think about those who share. You have to. And you took one of my points, Dr. Liz, definitely. Number one, watch what you watch and what you listen to. Consider the source. So just like Liz is saying in the comments, Dr. Liz is saying in the comments, you have to be careful who you talk to. Some people don't want to see you happy. Listen, this has been about 40 years ago, maybe more. But I remember confiding in a girl that I worked with and telling her all about, I was telling her good things though, how great my guy was, and oh, he's so this, he's so that, and what he does so well, per. And guess what? She got a turn. She loved so much of what I was telling her, she had to have a turn too. So I learned the hard way, keep your mouth shut. You don't need to tell everybody what's going on, good or bad. Number two, do some soul searching. Meet yourself. So there's a lot out there about dating yourself. I think that's so important. That's how you learn. If you don't know, and there was a time I didn't know. I think I shared this before. I remember when I got divorced and my pastor asked me, what is it that you like to do? And everything I was listing had to do with my kids, had to do with a partner. He said, no, just you. What are things that you like? What brings you joy? It took me maybe 2 weeks to come up with some things and think about when was the last time I did something that didn't involve somebody else. And so these last 15 years has been a journey of just really getting to know Kim. Kim, who's not a daughter, Kim, who's not a mother, Kim, who's not the teacher, just Kim. What makes her tick? What makes her a good person? What makes her a great friend? What makes her interesting? Dating myself, spending time with myself. You choose better, especially if you've gotten peaceful. You got to be somebody exceptional for me to want to put my clothes on and leave my house. Like I take dating just that seriously now because my life is just, again, I reached a level of peace. I enjoy it here. So if you're somebody that can add to that peace, you got my time and you got my attention. Absolutely. So do some soul searching, find out who you are and what you want really. Now what the internet is telling you, now what your family is telling you, what you really want. Be honest with others and yourself. If it's something that you don't care for, tell the truth. And tell the truth early on. Don't waste people's time. Don't be so afraid that there's not somebody else, that you hold somebody captive knowing that you're lying to them because you don't want what they want, or there's something about them that just doesn't align with where you are. Develop some questions. that ask for you to ask to get the info that matters to you. Questions that help you find out about the person's character and beliefs. So for those of you who are afraid that you might spend too much time and get hurt, think about some things that you need to know up front. So for a while, especially when I was doing online dating, my question was after, of course, the obvious, tell me about yourself, or, what made you get on the dating website. Then the next question would be like, tell me about your relationship with God. And I would always get one of three answers. Either one, they would tell me about what church they belong to, or they would tell me that that's too personal. I really don't want to talk about spiritual issues with somebody that I don't know. Or they would tell me about their relationship with God, whether that included going to church or not, or they believe another way of conceptualizing God, but they were able to talk about it. And that told me a lot about how they think, their decision making, what they value, all of those things. Okay? So, develop some questions. Don't make people pay for your past. I always say, don't make your next pay for don't make your next pay for your ex. So don't make people pay for your past. You got to unpack that baggage, bag lady, bag man. So whatever has happened to you in the past, sit with that. Figure it out before you go, bleeding on somebody else who didn't cut you. Limit what you share and who you share with. I can't say that enough. Limit what you share, and especially the bad things, because I'm telling you, when you love somebody, there's things that you may be willing to forgive, but your friends and your family, and definitely not the internet, will not. I see people post too much stuff too. All your business on the internet. And then when you decide you want to forgive that person, everybody's in your business. Oh, heck no, ain't no way in the world. She's stupid. He's crazy. You need to keep people out of your business. Get to know people. How do we keep the piss out of the dating pool? Actually, get to know people. Treat people as individuals. Not just this is just some man or some woman. Have some care about yourself. As you get to know people, choose who feels right for you. Beyond age, beyond class. We didn't go into that. Okay? So, like, I remember there was a time where I had friends who were like, you need to find a man who's on your level, on my level. What does that mean? They meant someone who had the same educational and professional background as myself. Does that matter when we're in the house trying to figure out if we're making spaghetti or casserole? Does it matter where he works and where I work? When you need your toes rubbed, when you need your scalp scratched, when you need somebody to hold you when somebody's died, does it matter how that person earns a living when it comes to the space between two people? We get really hung up on that. I'm not saying you don't want someone who's earning a good living. Absolutely. Of course, we want somebody who can take care of themselves. And then if we pool our resources, again, depending on your views about that, we're good. But to say that you would just eliminate somebody because they'd have a certain type of job, that's wrong. You can't make a decision. We already talked about that, walking away too soon because of what other people say. At the end of the day, it's the space between two people that you're trying to cultivate. You all better stop pissing in this pool. And it starts with us. It starts with what we're saying and what we're doing with each other. Treat people as individuals instead of a choice on the menu at a restaurant that you've been to all the time. That's how we treat people. Stay in the moment and try to deal with each person as you meet them. I'm not saying to ignore red flags or outright disrespect, but sometimes those flags are red because of our toxic point of view. And I've been that person. Doop, doop, doop. Trying to hurry up. I want to hurry up and eliminate you before I get got. So I know I want to come back to this because a couple of people who wanted to join me tonight that weren't able to because of the prior commitments. But I think I'm gonna bring a panel on here of men and women and talk more about this piss in the dating pool. And how can we stop pissing in it and clean this dating pool up for those who don't want to stay in it? Some people like dating. I'm not. I'm not a fan at all. At all. So I think next week we're coming back to alignment unless I have the panel together. If I have the panel, oh, excuse me, then we're going to revisit this next week with some men and some women. Sound good? Thank you all again for joining me another Friday night on the couch with Dr. Kim, where we talk about everything concerning love and relationships. You can find me on Facebook on the couch with Dr. Kim. You can find me on Instagram on the couch with Dr. Kim, or in Love and Life According to Dr. Kim, which is a group on Facebook for women only, where we talk about everything concerning love and relationships 24/7. If you are interested in any kind of coaching, and let me stop here because I know there's a lot going on with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant and people talking about her credentials. I am not a therapist. My doctorate is in education, so I'm a teacher. And so I use this platform. I feel like teaching about relationships, but I am not a therapist. I am not a psychologist, but I do talk to people on my couch about their relationships. So if you would like to, send me a DM or send me a message here, and I would love to connect with you and talk about those things. So I am a relationship renovator. So until next week, you all have a good night. And thanks for your time and attention.